Far, far away, beyond the hills of silver mist and through forests where leaves sparkled like emeralds, there was a hidden place called the Rainbow Lagoon. Few had ever seen it, and even fewer believed it existed. Legends whispered that the lagoon held a magical secret, something powerful enough to change the fate of anyone brave enough to discover it. In a cozy village nearby lived a curious little panda named Pico. Unlike the other pandas, who enjoyed spending their days napping and munching on bamboo, Pico's eyes were always filled with wonder. He loved stories of adventures, mysteries, and places no one dared to go. One evening, as the sky turned golden, Pico overheard two travelers at the village tea house. "Have you heard about the Rainbow Lagoon?" one asked. "They say its waters shimmer with every color, and at its heart lies a crystal that grants one true wish," whispered the other. Pico's ears perked up. A wish? That was exactly what he needed. You see, Pico wished to prove to his village that even a small panda could achieve something great. That night, as the moonlight bathed the village, Pico packed a small satchel, some bamboo snacks, a map scribbled on an old scroll, and his lucky red scarf. He whispered, "Tomorrow, the adventure begins." The next morning, Pico set off. The map led him first into the emerald forest, where the trees grew so tall their tops disappeared into the clouds. Birds with feathers like jewels sang songs that echoed between the branches. As Pico walked, he suddenly heard a faint cry. Following the sound, he found a tiny fox kit caught in a thorn bush. "Oh no!" "Hold still," Pico said, carefully pulling the thorns away. The fox's golden fur was tangled, but soon he was free. "Thank you," squeaked the fox. "My name's Fen." "Where are you going?" "To the Rainbow Lagoon," Pico announced proudly. Fen's eyes widened. "That's dangerous. But if you don't mind, I'd like to come with you." And so, the two new friends journeyed deeper into the forest together. The forest path led them to the foot of a mountain. There, a dark opening yawned like the mouth of a giant beast, the Singing Caves. According to the map, the only way forward was through. Inside, the air was cool, and strange glowing crystals lit their way. But the strangest part was the sound, soft hums, whispers, and songs that seemed to come from nowhere. As they walked, the ground suddenly trembled. Out from the shadows slithered a stone serpent, its scales glimmering with crystal light. "Who dares enter my cave?" it hissed. Pico's knees wobbled, but he stepped forward. "We seek the Rainbow Lagoon. Please, let us pass." The serpent's eyes narrowed. "Only those who can match the song of the cave may continue." Pico gulped. He had never sung in front of anyone before. But then he remembered his grandmother's lullaby, the one she sang every night. Closing his eyes, he sang softly, his voice blending with the crystal's hum. Fen added his high-pitched yips, and together, their voices filled the cave. The serpent tilted its head, then lowered itself. "Your hearts are true. You may pass." With relief, they hurried out of the cave and into the sunlight once more. Beyond the mountains stretched the desert of shifting sands. The dunes glittered like gold under the blazing sun. The air shimmered, and mirages danced before their eyes, trees, rivers, even giant feasts that vanished when they got close. As the sun set, they realized they were lost. The map seemed useless, every dune looked the same. Exhausted, Pico dropped to the sand. "Don't give up," said Fen, his ears twitching. "Look, the stars." The desert sky was clearer than any Pico had ever seen, and the stars sparkled like diamonds. Remembering a story from the travelers, Pico searched the constellations until he found it, the shape of a swan pointing east. "Follow the swan," Pico said, and together they trudged onward. By dawn, they reached the desert's edge, where palm trees swayed beside a hidden spring. At last, after many days, they arrived at the Rainbow Lagoon. It was more breathtaking than they could have ever imagined. The water shimmered with every color, reds, blues, purples, and greens, swirling like liquid light. At its center stood a crystal island, glowing brightly, but as they approached, the water rippled, and from beneath rose a magnificent dragon, scales sparkling like the lagoon itself. "I am Leora, guardian of the Rainbow Lagoon," she thundered. "Why have you come?" Pico's heart pounded, but he stepped forward. "I wish to prove that even someone small can achieve something great." The dragon studied him for a long moment, then smiled. "True greatness does not come from size or power, it comes from courage, kindness, and friendship. You have already proven yourself, little panda." The crystal pulsed with light, and suddenly, the lagoon lifted their reflections into the air. Pico saw himself not as a small, timid panda, but as a brave adventurer who had crossed forests, caves, and deserts. Beside him stood Fen, loyal and fearless. The dragon's voice echoed, "Your wish is already granted. You are great, Pico, because you never gave up." With the dragon's blessing, Pico and Fen returned home. When they reached the village, everyone gathered to hear their tale. At first, no one believed them, until Pico poured a small vial of Rainbow Lagoon water into the fountain. Instantly, the water shimmered with every color, and the villagers gasped in awe. From that day on, Pico was no longer seen as just a small panda. He was known as Pico the Brave, the panda who discovered the secret of the Rainbow Lagoon, and as for Fen, he became Pico's lifelong companion, the two of them always ready for the next adventure.